graders. Today we're working on Eureka Module 4, Lesson 10. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, our objective today is to use math drawings to represent the composition when adding a 2-digit to a 3-digit number. So what that means is that you are going to need either a whiteboard or your place value mat and some place value chips, because we're going to be doing addition while using those place value chips. Okay, so things to remember. One important thing to remember all week is that 110 is equal to 10 ones. So just remember that it works both ways. You can break the 10 down to 10 littles, or you can make 10 littles into one big, and it works the same way with subtraction too. And then we have horizontal and we have vertical. And then remember, place value is hundreds, tens, and ones, or sometimes we even write HTO. Okay, so let's go ahead and review a problem. I have 125 plus 17. So I'm going to take that from a horizontal problem and I'm going to change it to a vertical problem. So I'm going to start with writing 125. Now, where would I write that 17? Would I write it like this? No, I wouldn't write it like that. Would I write it like this? No, I can't write it like that. I need to write them nice and straight, just like that. My ones line up with the ones, my tens line up with the tens, and now I'm ready to add. So you can go ahead and take out your hundreds, tens, and ones. You can use your place value chips if you want to, but if you have this in a dry erase board, you can go ahead and just draw your dots today. We're not going to be writing tens and ones. And let's go ahead and make the number 125. Now, when I look at the number 125, I see 100, 2 tens, and 5 ones. So when I put them in, I have 100, I have 2 tens, and I have my 5 ones, just like that. Now I'm going to add 17. So when I add more. I put more on. Now how am I going to do that? Well, if I look at 17, I have 1 10 and I have 7 ones. So here's 1 10. And there's my 7 ones. If you notice, I still like to line things up in groups of 5 because it makes it a little easier to count. So now what do? You're right, I have to start adding my ones. So I'm going to group my ones together. So how many ones do I have if I count all of these ones together? Well, I have 5, and then I have 5 more, and then I have 2. So that means that I have 12 ones. Now, when I have more than 10, remember, they can't all just stay in the ones because that would make our number look a little strange. So when I'm going to put my number here in my problem, remember our groups below. We're going to put our groups below, and then we're going to put our 2, and then we're going to put our 2 in the ones place. So it's going to look like that. There's my 10 below and my 2. I put on this line right here so that way I can remember to add it when it's time to add it. Now, one thing I want you to remember is if I have a 10 in the tens place, I can rebundle because sometimes having a lot of ones is hard to count. So remember, I can group 10 of these and make a 10. So let's go ahead and do that. There's my new 10. And let's go ahead and get rid of these ones that I have here that are just kind of extra. So what am I left with? Well, I'm left with only 2 ones. And if you can see, I have my little picture here and it kind of shows that. Now let's look at the tens. I have 2 plus 1 plus 1. I can't forget this little one right here. So then that means that I have 4 tens now. So I would put my answer right there. And then when I have my hundreds, that's easy. There's no 100 here. So I just bring that 100 down and my answer looks like that. So 125 plus 17 is equal to 142. Let's try another one. Okay, so now I have 26 plus 147. So let's go ahead and start writing it vertically. So I have my 26. Now where do I put that 147? Would I line it up like this? 147? Well, let's see if that lines up. My sevens is in my ones place. Does that line up? It doesn't line up at all. So let me show you how to line it up when the bigger number is on the bottom. You would line it up just like that. Make sure that your ones are in line and your tens are in line, and then your 100 can be all by itself because there's no 100 right here on the 26. So now that they're lined up, I'm ready to add. So here's my chart, and let's go ahead and show these numbers. 26 is 2 tens and 6 ones. So now that I have 2 tens and 6 ones, I have to add 147 to that. So there's my 100, my 4 tens, and my 7 ones. So again, the first thing that I have to do is I have to start adding with my ones. So 6 plus 7 is equal to 13 ones. So when I go to write my 13 on my answer, I need to make sure that I represent it like this. I put my new groups below. Remember, I put it right here. It's not part of the answer. That's just there to remind me that I have a new group of 10. And then I put my 3 in the ones place. Now, if I'm going to show you what that looks like, remember we can bundle. Let's bundle those 10s. So when I bundle those 10s, we're taking that group of 10 and we are putting it in the tens place. So now that I have a group of 10 in the tens place, which is this one and this one, I am left with 3 ones. And that's how come I put this nice big 3 here, because that's my answer. I have 3 ones. Now, I didn't put my 1 in my answer because that's not my answer. I'm just adding that. So now let's go ahead and add what we have left. I have 2 tens plus 4 tens, and let's not forget this 1. So 2 plus 4 plus 1, and that's equal to 7 tens. So I would put my answer right there. And then my hundreds, well, I don't have to add anything. I can just bring that down and I have 100. And that's it. So let's go ahead and do another one. I have 35 plus 106. Remember, practice makes perfect. So if you want to pause this video and you want to try to do this on your own, go ahead. Remember, the first step is to write it vertically. So go ahead and do that. Okay, so I've written it vertically like this. Now look, my ones line up, my tens line up, and there's my 100. So let's go ahead and add them up. Here's my place value chart. Remember, if you don't have your place value chart, get a piece of paper, write hundreds, tens, and ones, and it's that easy. So let's go ahead and represent our first number, 3 tens, 5 ones. There's my 3 tens, and there's my 5 ones. Now my second number is 106. Now if you look at the number 106, I have 100, 0 tens, 6 ones. So 100, no tens, and 6 ones. And it's okay to not have any tens. Some numbers are like that, just like 106 is like that. It's totally fine. So what's the first thing we do? We add our ones. So let's go ahead and add our ones. 5 plus 5, I know that that's 10, so one more is 11 ones. So when I'm going to write my 11, remember I have my new group below, and then I'm going to write my 1 there. So there's my new group below, and there's my 1. Now to show you what that looks like, remember I have my group of 10, it bundles together, and let's move it to the tens. So let's get that bundle going. And here is my new 10. And I'm only left with 1 1. It's all by itself now. So my next step is to add my tens. So I have 3 tens plus 1 10. So that's equal to 4 tens. And then my 100 is all by itself. So 35 plus 106 is 141. So let's go ahead and look at this new problem here. I have 27 plus 137. This is what your problem set will look like, so I thought I would show you what it would look like before I have you start doing some work on your own. So I have 27 plus 137, and I've got to start writing that right here. Remember, I'm going to write it vertically. So I'm going to write 27 plus 137. And there we go. So now let's go ahead and show our numbers in the chart. So my first number that I'm going to show is my 27. So I have 2 tens, and then I have 7 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now I'm going to show my other number in blue. My next number is 137. So I have 100, and then I have 3 tens, and then I have 7 ones. 4, 5, 6, and 7, just like that. So do you see this right here that says before building a 10 and after building a 10? Well, we're going to fill this out on our way. I've been doing it all along, but you might have not noticed. So I do want you to notice this. So let's go ahead and fill this out. So let's go ahead and see how many ones I have before I build a 10. So I have 7 and 7. So I'm going to take 3 from the 7 right here, and I'm going to make a 10. So I have 10, and then look at this. It looks like a dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have 4 left. So before I build a 10, I have 14 ones. So I'm going to put a 14 right there. So 14 ones, and let's go ahead and build my 10. So now that I've built my 10, let's go ahead and show that on our answer. Remember, I put my new groups below, but remember I just make it nice and small so that way I don't forget to add it. And then part of my answer is 4 ones. Now that I've made my group of 10, I can also add this. I have 4 ones left. So before I made a group of 10, I had 14 ones, but now that I made a group of 10, I have 4 ones. Okay, now before I built a 10, I had 2 and 3, which was 5 tens. But now that I built a 10, that's not part of my answer because now that I made a 10, I have to remember to add that. So 2 plus 3 is 5, and 1 more is 6. So that's my answer, and I'm going to go ahead and put a 6 right there because now that I built a 10, I have an extra 10. And then when I look at my hundreds, well, my hundreds are my hundreds, and I just have 100. As we move on, we will be playing with those hundreds too. So let's go ahead and look at our final answer. Our final answer is 164. Now before I built a 10, I had 100, 5 tens, and 14 ones. After building a 10, I have 100, 6 tens, and 4 ones. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at the next problem. It says Jamie started to solve this problem when she accidentally dropped paint on her sheet. Have you ever done that? You've been doing your homework and you might be eating and you might drop a piece of ketchup or something like that. Well, she has a problem because now she can't figure out what problem she was given. So can you figure out what problem she had? It looks like she started making her bundle of 10. So what do you think her problem was? Well, let's go ahead and look at this first number right here. You can see that she has 100, and then she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tens, and then she has 8 ones. So I think her first number was 158. So I'm going to write that right there. Now, what did she have to add to it? It looks like she had to add 30 and 4. So I'm going to go ahead and put that right here, 34. Well, since we already have the problem, let's go ahead and find the answer. It looks like she did most of the work for us. So even though she covered her work in paint, it's kind of nice because we can still figure out what the problem was, and let's go ahead and find the answer. So now that she's done this, well, we know that she made a group of 10. So how many ones does she have left? She has 2 ones. And then how many 10s does she have now? Well, she made a new group, so we can't forget to count that. So I have 5 10s plus 3 is 8 and 9. So 9 10s. And then she has 100. So my answer is 192. So if you spill paint or ketchup or something on your homework, no worries. Just figure it out another way. So remember, if you have any questions, please get in contact with me and let me know if you're struggling with something. I'm here to help you. So let's go ahead and practice and let's look at our seesaw assignment. Okay, your seesaw assignment today is I'm going to have you do 38 plus 149. Now I have this HTO chart for you right here. You can do this on a piece of paper and take a picture for me because sometimes that might be easier. Or if you want to go ahead and use your seesaw tools and make your dots and make your group of 10, you can do that too. I've already written the problem for you vertically here, but like I said, if you need a piece of paper, go ahead and use that piece of paper to do that. And then your next problem is right here, your turn, 79 plus 107. You're going to build that up. And then do you remember that problem where do you remember that problem where before I built a 10, I had all kinds of ones and then I had a different number of 10s and then after? So this is before the bundle and then after the bundle. So I want to see if you guys can do that. So go ahead and work on those two problems on your own and then we have a worksheet to work on together and that's it. So until next time, we will see you later. Bye.